I think they've done studies. Like if you look at the time your kid goes to school and the time you get off work and then the time they're probably going to bed or supposed to be going to bed, there's like 2 hours a day.
Why are we spending time with our kids? So that they feel supported, so they feel like they have someone that they can talk to, because we don't want to raise children who feel alone, right? We know what happens with that. These are children are disconnected from people in their lives, family members. And so we're trying to teach them like how to have like build relationships, but also we're also providing them that like relationship with people.
I felt like I needed to connect with them a little bit more. And so we did sleepovers, but I did it with them individually. We would build a tent or fort and we'd get snacks. And like, I'd ask them, what activity do you want to do? We'll do that activity and I'll buy your favorite snacks and we'll just chill.
The stark difference between your dark hair, your light skin tone, and everything, it's still very different.
So if I got a tan and dyed my hair, would I change seasons?
Yes, but they also say no matter what, the hair that you are born with is always going to be the best for you.
Okay.
A majority of the time, whatever hair like your hair that grows out of your head. So I know everyone's looking at my braids, which technically I would say the color I got from my braids were not the right color. I probably should have gone more chocolate brown or more red, not more honey.
Because you're autumn.
I'm an autumn.
Okay.
I think I'm an autumn. If anyone knows differently.
So what colors am I supposed to wear as winter?
You want me to look it up right now?
Sure. Is this only for women? Because I only see women on there.
No,
too.
it's only usually women, but I think this would be helpful for like even men to be interested in.
Yeah, but for me, I would need something cooler like fire, ice, earth, wind. Like I need some airbender.
Actually,
language
that's not
here.
a bad idea at all. If they were to market it in a way with like fire, ice, what else? Water.
You don't know the airbender elements?
Water.
Jeena.
Water.
Jeena.
Fire. I have to sing it just like fire. Water, air, there we go. Air, and I've watched so much Avatar that I should know this.
It's fire, water, air, earth.
Earth, there we go.
So anyway, yeah, if you tell me I'm fire, water, air, or earth, I'm more
But that's not how it
inclined
goes. You know what? Listen. This picture would tell me.
They're all women. There's all women in that, but this is not for me.
Oh, wait a second. Are you autumn with me too, baby? Here's how we can tell. Because this lady, she explains it so well. If you guys want to find her, it's Alykima, so Alykima. She made it very easy for me to figure out how to tell. Because you do it based off of your skin tone. So you're olive. I think that's automatically warm. So then that makes you autumn or summer. And you're saying it like, you know.
No, I mean, I would like to be summer just to prove you wrong, but
there we go.
Show you a new way to find your color season through process of elimination. You can start by removing the true 4 seasons because these embody either warmth or coolness, and neutral undertones will not fall under these categories. Step 2 is looking at your features and deciding if they are more light or dark. I have blonde hair and very light eyes. I would keep the light category. Between my dark hair and my dark eyes, I know that I fall under this category and I can eliminate the light. Next step
is autumn or winter.
Figuring out if you are more bright or muted. Let me save you $300 by teaching you to do your own color analysis. Knowing what colors are best on you is so powerful.
I want to do it anyways.
$300?
Baby. But I would always look good.
You already know what it is.
Step 1 is figuring out if you're cool or warm. You look best in silver, you're cool. We limit you to winter or summer. It's gold, you're warm, which makes you spring or autumn. Step 2 is the hard.
You look good in silver or gold.
I have no clue.
Typical.
Try on a bright color or lipstick and a muted version of those same shades. If those bright colors overwhelm you, you're muted. If you are bright, you are either spring or winter. If you are soft and muted, you are summer or autumn. Now you have your season. The last step will tell you which category you are. Step 3 is about contrast. People who are dark have a lot of contrast between their hair, skin, and eyes. I have dark hair, dark eyes, and very pale skin, which makes me a dark autumn. You are soft if you have low contrast. For example, dark skin, brown hair, brown eyes would be soft autumn. If your contrast is
may be
kind of
soft
in between,
autumn.
then you're true.
You think I'm a soft autumn, not a dark
You
autumn?
got brown eyes.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Find your best colors.
I don't know what you are. That seems like it's going to take a
I think I'm for sure an autumn, but I don't know if I'm a dark or a soft. And I think you're for sure a winter or autumn. I realize I don't look that great in black. And I've noticed that a bunch. Like everyone's like, oh, everyone looks good in black. I'm like, there's some people who look better in black than others, and I don't feel like I look good in black, but I do look really good in gray.
I think you look good too. That's all I was gonna say.
Whatever.
I think you look wonderful.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, that's like my whole thing I've been obsessing about. It's just color analysis. I think I found a lady here in Atlanta that does it.
Oh my goodness. Just let me do it for you.
What if we both go? And then what if we both find out we're on them so we can connect even more?
Will she cut the price in half? Like $150 a piece? I may be inclined to do that because it seems cheaper, even though I know I'm still
spending a lot of money.
Not wasting money, but spending a lot of money.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to... Asking someone to give you a...
See if you can bargain her down to $15 a person. Then I'd be inclined to go,
I just know you're just being unserious right now.
All right. Well, guys, welcome to Hey There Parenthood. I'm Drew.
I'm Jeena.
And we're happy to have you guys here. Today, we're going over engaging with our children.
Yeah.
I think this is a question we've gotten a lot because we have 5 children.
We have a lot of kids. Like, I think it's reasonable for people to question, how are we spending a lot of time with our kiddos? Because I think a lot of parents are like, I already feel busy between work, between like just
most
our
parents
relationship.
I think they've done studies. Like if you look at the time your kid goes to school and the time you get off work and then the time they're probably going to bed or supposed to be going to bed, there's like 2 hours a day.
It's just really sad, isn't it?
And one of those hours is probably dinner.
What? That's not a problem.
You know? I'm not saying that's not a problem. I'm just saying like you're thinking of engaging. Like I think dinners are a great way to engage as a family.
But not individually. Oh, yeah, I can say that. But no, I still think you can. I think the act of eating dinner and talking with your kids can make it feel less like confrontational or less like... You know what I'm trying to say?
Families that eat together stay together.
Oh, man. You say that anyone who does anything together is going to stay together. You know that, right?
I mean,
we got wigs coming up in a little bit. And you're like, oh, the family that does crime together stays together.
Yeah. I mean, is it true or not? I don't know. But
I don't know. I mean,
I have seen good. Guys, I say studies. I've read this stuff and don't keep my sources. But I have,
We're both good at that.
I have read where families that eat dinner together have better outcomes as a family unit. And there's just something about gathering every night. And I think it's just the consistency and then spending that time creates quality time as a family.
I don't think it's just the quality time though. I think it's the fact that a child knows, hey, I have this time every single day that if something is really happening in my life and I really need to talk to my parents about it, that I know dinner is that time. And so I don't know if it's the actual dinner. I think it's knowing that at dinner time we're going to be together. It could be at any other time. Like what if it was like morning prayers for some people? The only time that the whole family's together is like morning prayers, and then everyone's doing dinner at different times. I think that could constitute as like the same thing, don't you think?
I think in some ways yes, but I also think it is different.
How?
Like, how long are people's family prayers typically?
Well, I'm not... Okay, think about when we were really good at doing
if you're just doing family prayers, like maybe 10, 15 minutes, getting everyone together. Maybe someone doesn't want to do prayer. Everyone typically wants to eat.
Okay, how long are you eating?
An hour or two.
You are not eating for an hour or two. This is... I do not make 7-course meals. It is 1 course all on one plate, maybe with a... No, actually, always with a salad.
You guys know what
maybe
happens.
With some bread.
You have kids, you know what happens. You get your own food, you let it get cold while you get the other, like family members, like kids specifically, while you get their food. They start eating, you sit down, take 1 bite, it's absolutely delicious, and somebody needs seconds. So then you get up
Penguin's
and
like,
you go get...
Yesterday, it was so cute. Penguin's like, as we're saying prayer, he's eating and closing his eyes. And then all of a sudden, as soon as we're done with prayer, open his eyes. More, Daddy, please, now.
I think it's even worse than that because I remember closing my eyes and being like, Dear Heavenly Father, and just hearing like scraping this plate across. And I like trying to peek open because I don't want to like be the bad influence on my kids, like having my eyes open during prayer. And like this plate of like eating spaghetti is just sliding closer and closer, like falling off into my lap. And I'm just like,
I stopped it.
He's like, Dad, more. Dad, more. I'm like, Heavenly Father, please bless this food. Dad, more. And I'm just like, okay, maybe I just go get him more. So,
which I'm happy he's eating. Like,
no, he chowed down.
He's chowing down now.
Four plates of spaghetti.
If you talked to us about 2 months ago, he was living off of air.
No, cheese and macaroni.
And air.
And
No,
air.
barely macaroni. Just the cheese, macaroni sometimes, and air. He was a breatharian, like you would say. I think our dinners are like 30 minutes. 30 minutes.
You think so? I'm going to time it tonight. I'm going to time it tonight and see how long the dinner is.
I'm telling you, it's 30 minutes.
Wait, is it 30 minutes from the time Penguin sits down and starts eating as we're like setting the table?
Why are we dogging on
Or is it
Penguin
30
like this?
minutes after prayer? Or is it 30 minutes when the first person gets up or the last person gets up?
Okay, we can't
There's a
even
lot
do
of
that.
factors in here.
Tiger takes forever. Like, she is one of the people who is probably going to have the best digestion system out of all of us.
You know,
she takes
yesterday-
forever to eat.
You know,
Like,
yesterday it took her 2 hours to eat breakfast.
I love that for her
'Cause she's
when
just
we're
chilling.
not busy.
She had her legs. I had to get her legs off the table. She had her legs up on the table, and she just had this pancake, and she's just like,
She was so happy. That makes me so happy for
she's
her.
just chilling.
And when we're
eating her
not busy, I
pancakes.
think I'm okay with it. Because I think taking time to slowly eat is good. I think one of the things that I recognize is that we probably need to take the time to sit with her the whole time she's eating. Because that's like forever. That's forever. But it's worth it because I know she's enjoying her food, chewing really slowly and just happy.
Yeah.
I like that. I would say the majority of families are already spending time eating dinner together because you kind of like forced to. You want to make sure all your kids are eating. What other things that could we be doing to kind of ensure that we're spending time not only as a family but individual, because that's where I feel like
I think that's huge because we I think it's huge that you make it a priority to spend individual time with your children, and the more children we have, I think the more effort and organization we have to put into it. Not saying people with one child don't have to put in the same effort, because they do. Like,
They
even if
do.
you just have one child,
you should.
you still have to put in effort to spend time alone with that child. But I think it becomes a little more complicated because you only have so many days in the week, and you actually start creating some schedules and stuff. Like, I actually talked with Panda this week because last year what we did is I felt like I needed to connect with them a little bit more, and so we did sleepovers, but I did it with them individually.
Oh yeah, when you sleep
remember
over
that?
each in their rooms.
We would build a tent or four, and we'd get snacks, and like I'd ask them, what activity do you want to do? We'll do that activity, and I'll buy your favorite snacks, and we'll just chill. And so Panda this week, he's like, Dad, when can we do the sleepover again? Like, I want to talk more about, we were actually talking about a really deep subject about like mental illness and disease.
Oh yeah.
In our family and stuff. And he's like, Dad, I want to talk to you more about this, but when can we do like the sleepover? Because I want to talk more with you, just individually. And so I was like, oh, that's really sweet. And so we actually scheduled on the calendar a time to schedule our time for our sleepover, which sounds ridiculous when I think about it.
But
we just like
as our lives
calendars
get
so
busy,
busy.
yeah.
And so many kids, and I want to make sure each kid's getting their favorite thing. So I know what he wants to do. He wants to stay up and play like Fortnite all night and snack out.
It's just his way to get more video
Which is completely fine, but we can't do that like before
night.
school night or church. Like, well, I can't. He can. He's like, you know, when you're
He's
young.
a beast.
When you're young,
Like,
you just go on 1 hour of sleep. You're like,
Well,
I'm
I'm
fine.
good.
I'm fine. Walking
do you
around
mean?
with your eyes half closed. No, I'm not tired. I'm good.
Can we not keep talking about being tired? Because I can feel myself being more tired as we talk about it. And I'm like, I actually have energy for once. I've been on, I don't know if you guys have been following us on like social media, but like got like hormones tested and checked out. And like I'm on new medication. And I feel like for once, I'm not tired in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
But that's just a tangent. We can talk
It
about
makes
another
me
time.
think of a topic that we're on as one of our deciding factors if we want to have another child or not is, do we have capacity as parents to take care of that child? Not just feed them, but like give them as much as we've given the other children.
Like as much time
attention,
spending-
emotions, finances is a factor too. But
usually I feel for most families, it's just like, can we financially afford it? And do we want another kid? But I think it should be, hey, can we handle another personality? Do we have the time? Do we have like the stamina? Because I think about right now, like this would be my first geriatric if we were to get pregnant. I know, geriatric pregnancy. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Maybe y'all,
it'll
medical
sound better
people,
eventually.
y'all medical people need to figure out a different word, because I don't feel like. I feel different compared, but I felt different at 30, 31, 32 being pregnant compared to my 20s. And so I think
Didn't your grandma give birth at like 60?
what?
Yeah. For some reason, I felt that was like a rumor or conversation.
Close to
in your
50,
family.
I think.
50?
Like late,
Okay.
mid 40s.
Because you had a
That's what I say.
niece that was your
I
same
have
age,
my
right?
aunt. No, I have an aunt.
That's what it was.
I have an aunt the same age, and we're only a couple months from each other. That's really crazy, and so our lives are completely different. I don't know. I don't really keep in touch with her that much, but I think she only has like one child right now. I think I don't really know. And we started young.
Yeah,
and so I think that might be some factors to certain things. I mean, I'm even thinking about how young we are, kind of like we have more energy or more time to even think about, hey, how much time are we spending with our kids? Can we do more? Because I do feel like if you're older, you're trying to get ready for this next phase of life, that you're not that you don't care about your kids, but you're worrying about your kids' next phase of like, hey, we're young. I don't even think we're that young, really. I feel like we're so old. But we're young, and our kids are relatively young as well. So we're not thinking about this next phase. So when we're thinking about spending time with them, it's generally just spending time with them. We're not worrying about like, hey, I need to spend time with my kids because I want to know where they're at school-wise, like college or the future.
I know one thing you're really good. So I did the sleepovers with the kids, but I know one thing you're really good at is like date nights with the kids.
I love date nights with the kids.
You love like going out just one-on-one and like
spending money together. All your money.
You like spent what you guys went to the movie together,
and then we went to dinner.
Cal, you guys did ice cream,
and we did something else with her. I can't remember.
Who did you do the makeup? Was that one or all three of the girls? You guys did like a makeup day.
Okay, so with the big ones, I do all three of the girls, and then I do Panda on his own. I think once Penguin gets older, I think I may try to incorporate some dates with like just the boys. But I genuinely like going out with one-on-one or just with the girls or just with like the boys. And I think it's just like a way where Panda right now, he's all about he's all like segregation. Boys over here, girls over here. And he's like, in my mind, that's the only segregation I'll ever be happy with. So, buddy, you will think differently in a couple years. But right now, he does not want to do anything with his sisters. And so I think I like spending date nights with them, or I call them date nights because typically it's at night. And what it was ice cream and shopping. And then I'm pretty sure I took Cal with me, and we went shopping, and we like bought clothes that she wanted. And then she's like, okay, but I need to buy like clothes for my sister.
Right. Yep.
And so I like those, and those are fun because I enjoy it. But I think not only is it like I'm picking activities, I usually try to pick activities that I think my child would enjoy. So like Badger, I think my next date night I want to play with her is I would love to go to like a museum, and then we can like have afternoon tea, and she would enjoy it because she loves tea. She's fancy and bougie. She loves tea, but she loves learning. She's a STEM girly as well. And going to a museum, like a science museum, or like right now she's obsessed with mushrooms. Like that would be fun. And I love going to museums. Am I interested in mushrooms? Badger, I like mushrooms, but I mostly like eating them. I don't like learning about them as much as you do. But I think it's really, I still think I try to make the effort. I still think it's important to make the effort. I like to make the effort of doing the activities that they love, but I'm still not doing something I absolutely hate either. I love going to museums. So it's like finding activities like that you can do with your kids, that you're not only learning about them as like your child, but you're also learning about them as a human being.
Yeah, and that's the quality time. Like you're saying, we're pretty good at doing dinners and stuff like that, and that is quality time, but sometimes it becomes quantity. Sometimes that's just being around each other, but we do purposely seek out quality time with the kids individually, and I think that's really important, something we strive for.
You know what, as we're talking, this also brings up something that we do or have thought about. We actually put people in our kids' lives that they can also spend quality time too. It shouldn't be, honestly, not to say like shouldn't be the
Building
first.
them a support group.
Yeah, I think it's all important because why are we spending time with our kids? So that they feel supported, so they feel like they have someone that they can talk to, because we don't want to raise children who feel alone, right? We know what happens with that. These are children are disconnected from people in their lives, family members, and so we're trying to teach them like how to have like build relationships, but also we're also providing them that like relationship with people. And so it doesn't have to just be mom and dad. I think if you have really close family members that your kids really are drawn to and then you trust them, I think you should be fostering that relationship with them as well. So like the kids' godparents, like Panda is extremely close to Blake. Like the both of them, they connect on so many different levels, right? But then recently, Blake told me that it's talked about something that Badger was going through. I'm not going to speak on it, but they connected on that. And I thought that was awesome because I cannot connect on that same.
Well, our kids are also preteen getting into teenage years where it's not cool to talk to mom and dad as much. It's not as fun to talk to mom and dad. You think mom and dad are really stupid, and
we're not.
Last night,
we know everything.
No, I don't think I am, but they do. Last night with Panda with his Invisalign, he uses my phone for the app. They don't, because we don't do phones for them right now. He's using my phone for the app for Invisalign, and it's taken a little while, so I think he may have been playing a game on my phone. So I went up there and checked on him, and he like tried to throw it on real quick, and I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just putting this on." I was like,
"Whatever."
Well, it's like the wrong way, like because you can see the flashlight is all cut off, and he's like, "No, I've done this a million times. I've got it. I know how it goes." And I'm like, "Dude, buddy, look right there." And so he turns it away from me, like I can't see, and he's looking at it, and he fixes. He's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I got it. It's all good." I said, "See, I do know what I'm talking about sometimes." And he's like, Like he wouldn't even acknowledge, like,
but you know what, though?
Yeah, you're right, Dad. Or he's like just so getting into this phase where it's just like,
I know everything. Like,
I know everything. So having people they can go to that they value, like that aren't their parents, but have like a lot of the same values and morals and will come to us with guidance and like, you know what I mean? Like they didn't sit there and tell Badger, you said they came to you with an issue Badger was having. They didn't sit there and tell Badger exactly what to do. They just gave like probably some advice we'd be comfortable with and then save that discussion for me and you to have with her.
Honestly, no.
You don't think so?
I think Blake gave advice that they felt comfortable with. And then Blake gave advice, like the real life experiences of what they were going through. And then I think they talked to Badger and explained like certain things of like why she may be feeling, how she was feeling about this particular thing. And then, I mean, technically we've given like both Courtney and Blake like permission to be there for our kids and support them. And I think they were just talking about it because honestly, I brought up the issue. I was like, "Hey, I know this, blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "Oh yeah, your daughter did talk to us about this. And this is what I said." And I don't think they've truly left it up to us.
Do you feel that took anything away from you though as a parent? Like not having that moment to connect with Badger at that time?
Because there's so many other things that Badger connecting with Blake does not take it away from me. That just only enhances for her, right? So now not only does she have mommy, but she has Blake. And she really loves Blake, right? And so now she's able to get more perspectives than just one. And yeah, it stinks that like our son Panda thinks like he knows more than us, right? But one of the things like for him, at least for Panda, knowing that there's so many different people and they're all intelligent in different ways. Like Panda, I don't think he thinks that I'm stupid. I just think he thinks like I'm just smarter than mom.
He's never gonna admit it. Like it's gonna be like years before he admits like, yeah, you're kind of smart.
I'm so excited.
Mom.
I'm excited for you to watch this episode, Panda. You're gonna be like 32 with like maybe a kid or two, maybe, because I think you told me you want kids. It may change in the future, and that's totally fine. And you may have 0 kids, but you're gonna be like in your 30s, and you're gonna be like, "Mama," and I'm like, "I already know." Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready with my drink. Tell me how smart I am.
I accept your apology. Go ahead.
So Panda, I think hearing from different perspectives, it just helps them. I think it's not to really make it where it's not really about, oh, I know more or less. It's just we all know things differently and we see it differently. So for all of our kiddos, I don't think it takes away from us. So I think having other people that your kids can have close communications with or close relationships with, right? I think it only enhances.
I think that's a good perspective because I think it's along the same lines, but growing up, with my parents being divorced and marrying new people and stuff like that, there was this feeling that if you connected with the new step parent, you were taking away from the original parent. Like there was that kind of
scarcity mindset, right?
Scarcity or
yeah, it is, because you think these kids are mine and I only have these kids. If they're having relationships with any other people, that means they're taking it away.
More defensive, like more along the defensive line.
Okay,
I don't know so much scarcity.
Okay, maybe it's the wrong word. Fine, thanks.
Love or attention, maybe.
Yeah.
You know. You good? You
I'm fine. I'm totally fine.
Okay, good. That gray looks good on you, by the way. Are you an autumn? Smooth. I could just tell because of your skin complexion.
Look, I'm not even wearing any makeup today.
Yeah.
Y'all. No makeup. Because mostly I don't have any time for makeup anymore. It's so sad.
I tell you all the time you look beautiful without makeup.
It's just because you want some.
I mean, that too. But you look beautiful without makeup. All right. As far as like labels for children go, and touching on that subject a little bit, can labels, and talking about being labeled autumn or winter, like can labels be helpful for children? Should we label children specific things or not? What's your take on
it? Depends
labels
on the child. I think some children fully love the labels. Panda per se loves being called gifted, loves that. And then we have some children being labeled causes like anxiety, like I have to live up to it and that's too much. I think it depends, and I think that I still need to work on it, because sometimes I'm always like, oh, like Badger's our STEM girly, and in reality I think she's so good at it. And I'm always amazed, like when I'm looking at her schoolwork and seeing what she's worked on, I'm like, this did not come out of your smart little bit. I birthed you. I'm horrible at STEM. I birthed a kid that's good at it. Like that is so mind-boggling to me. But I don't think she likes labels. And so I need to be better at it, because even though it's great for Panda, he enjoys it, I think it may box him in sometimes. I think it causes some of the issues that we currently have with him right now. And so I think as parents, we probably should label a lot less, because it sets this expectation for our children. And then if they're living up to a certain point, and then all of a sudden don't live up to it because either they want to change, they realize they have more different interests, whatever, I think it really hurts them in the long run. We should have less of it. And because I think boxing our kid, labeling them, even if it's the right label, kind of like limits them. And so I know I need to be better at it, labeling them less. I think it's great as we're putting great labels on our kids always. I don't think we ever put any negative, but I also feel like with Panda, it's actually some of the issues that we're having him, I think is attributed to some of the labels. There could be negative
consequences even with good labels.
Boom.
In my mind, I'm more adult centric with labels. How are adults going to perceive them? How are adults going to react?
Yeah, but you can't think that way.
Knowing your child, I can think that way.
You can, but we shouldn't.
Knowing your child is gifted, does that change the adult's behavior to that child? And I think that's more where I come in with labels is the label that you're getting going to benefit the child in any way? So like having the child labeled as like ADHD, does that help you, for us homeschooling, right? Does that better help us gear their schooling to help them succeed? Or are we using that label to box them in? Well, they'll never be able to do this because they have ADHD.
But here's the thing though.
Of course they're doing that. They have ADHD, which I think could be detrimental to the child if they have that label and you're only sticking into the confines of what your own perception of that label is.
Okay, but like we have a friend who has a child who is on the spectrum. They're autistic, right? I think it's the same, right? And they were deciding whether or not they wanted to get them tested, evaluated to see if they were truly autistic, right? And she told me, oh, I don't want to, because once they're labeled that, then it's going to change. And the stigma, and I get that. But whether or not that child was labeled that doesn't change whether or not they have it, right? I think it's the words that we speak that can really be the issue. Is not because...
Yeah, I think that's what I'm getting at. How the adult how that affects the adult's perception of that child, and if it changes the adult's actions for that child.
Gotcha.
I think that's where labels can be dangerous. I don't think the label itself is bad. If, like you're saying, if someone's ADHD, like that's what they have, that's how they're going to react.
It's not bad or good.
If you tell them that they don't have it, it doesn't get rid of it.
Yes. Okay.
And
yes.
so that's where I think I've tried to grow my own perception with labels, is not so much labels are good or bad, but what new information does that give you about them and how you can better help them as their, at least for me, how I could better help my kids as their parent to be successful.
But what you're failing to recognize is that we as parents, when we have labels that helps us learn more about our child and how to help them, it helps us. But other people, other adults may use that information to like not for the good.
Oh, for
right?
sure, yeah.
And so like there are some teachers who are like, I never want to, like I don't like
the trouble child.
Yes.
And
so it depends on the intent, right? It depends on the adult. For us, we use it as a way to be better help our child so that they could be the best version of themselves, while some adults use it as a negative way. Like, I don't want that child in my classroom because they're X, Y, and Z, right? And I think you're right. It's not so bad when it's through a child's eyes. But for adults, through their eyes, they use it as like bad or good. But in reality, being autistic, I don't think is bad or good. It's just is. Same thing as having ADHD. I don't see someone with ADHD, oh, but that's so bad, I'm so sorry. I don't see that, because I think there are a lot of people who have ADHD who are able to do many wonderful things.
Right.
It's not like a good or bad thing. It's just what you have. I think as adults, we can hear someone who goes like autistic and we're like, oh man, I feel bad for them. Or they have ADHD, man, that sucks. Like kind of thing. We're seeing it through adult eyes. And so those labels are bad through our eyes. But if a kid having no preconceived ideas, right, but they're just like, oh, you have ADHD and it makes your brain think this way, right? We don't put any like positive or negative ideas behind it. We just explain what it is. They wouldn't look at it the same way we look at it right now. And I want to also clarify the fact that when I say like being autistic is like bad or good, I truly don't think it's bad or good. I'm just saying a lot of adults think of it that way, not that I think of it that way.
In society, that's what a lot of the conversation you hear when you hear labels in general is like labels can be good or bad. Like you even said, we put good labels on our kids. So this is a Reddit story from a poster. What do you do when your kid is labeled a bad kid in their class? I have a 6-year-old boy who has ADHD. This is apparently code for I have a naughty, annoying kid. That's social stigma. We don't know what to do anymore. We've implemented a behavior chart at home and school. I get daily reports from his teachers from pickup, and it's recorded in a book. He has series of reinforcements and rewards he gets frequently at home that's correlated with the behavior chart. He has special workstations in class to do more intensive work at. He sees a behavioral therapist once a week and has for the last 2 years. He is in physical activity 4 days per week for a solid hour each session. This is trampoline, gymnastics, karate. His school offers swimming and PE an hour each and is part of his curriculum each day. Before last year, all we ever heard was how bright our son was, how advanced he was, how intelligent and articulate he was. Now, all we hear is what he's done wrong in class every day. He hasn't been invited to birthday parties this year. My daughter told me that she was in line walking to PE with her class, and a boy from my son's class said, "Hello, sister. So-and-so," talking about her brother, "is very naughty in our class." She came home and reported this to me. She thought it was funny because she's only 4, but my son overheard and was devastated. Another child in his class is aware that my son has a behavioral chart, has been going out of his way to antagonize him. It sounds like he's starting to get bullied. Once he was kicked out of his class and sent to preschool class as punishment. I'm just devastated. I know my son is a handful and can be very frustrating to deal with. At this point, all the negative feedback is making me resentful and ashamed, and I'm embarrassed. I know how people think. My own father-in-law was praising himself for being such a good disciplinarian by scaring my son into obedience. When Papa's in charge, that stuff doesn't fly. I don't know how to deal anymore. This is impacting my son's self-esteem and my own. Every parent wants to have a child who is well-adjusted and successful. I have done everything in my power to ensure this. He went to a beautiful, expensive Montessori preschools. He had the most gorgeous, lovely nursery. I hand selected all his toys. I made him organic baby food. He didn't see a screen until he was 3. Not even a phone screen. We don't even own a TV. What would you do?
Truthfully, the very first thing I would do is find a different teacher for your...
Yeah, this seems a little systemic.
Look at
into
you.
where he
You're right.
is going.
No, I mean, if you think about it, you need to find a teacher who's able to know the resources and the different ways for like to help your child cope and redirect. And it seems like that teacher already has such a bad stigma and like truly doesn't want a child like that in her class, then you should not have your child in that classroom. I don't think it's beneficial for your child. I think it's just going to hurt your child and continue to like lower their self-esteem, because I don't think the teacher's even doing anything to stop the other students, really.
I think it's really hard hearing this story because there's so many changes going on. And I don't know if the mom even recognizes the changes that are going on. So she talks about all of the one-on-one attention the child has gotten before entering public school is what I'm hearing. Part of what I'm hearing. Montessori schools.
How is that bad?
It's not bad, but it's a complete difference. And so I think one reason we homeschool is because we can give our children individual like lesson plans and individual attention to their schoolwork, right? Mm-hmm. Where this child goes from probably having that is what it sounds like to being thrown in a public school. And then like kids in general, if something is different or someone is different, they bully that kid. I think in general at a young age because it is different and it's easy and it's like you stick out more like a sore thumb.
Kids are always able to find, they're always able to recognize something that's different from what they know. And that's something that just naturally happens.
And I think,
but sorry to cut you off, baby, but I think when kids notice that and when the adults around them normalize things that are different, then that child begins to normalize it. I don't think the teacher is doing the job of making it seem
not
like,
kicking him out to preschool. Like you're not like, that was one thing. He got kicked out of his class and sent to a younger classroom as punishment, as like, hey, you can't behave. You're not mature enough to be in this class. We're going to send you to the babies class.
It was to demean him, like to make him feel horrible.
Yeah.